Hello, everyone. Welcome to Path to Courage. So, today we are doing episode 5 of Path to Courage Parent Education series. If you're joining live, welcome. If you're watching the replay, I'm really glad you're here as well. So, over the last few sessions, we have talked about AP course cap, the limit that was executed. We talked about course selection. We talked about summer courses. So, naturally, what comes next is parents are asking about what about extracurriculars? How much do they matter? Are we doing enough? Are these the right things to do? Right? So, today we are going to talk exactly about that. So, I want to start by resetting the expectations because this is where a lot of anxiety comes from. Colleges do not use a formula, they don't have a pie chart. They use human readers and a holistic review framework. And there is no official national percentage breakdown. Every college has its own metrics of looking at things. Now, what I'm sharing tonight is a research informed model, where a way to understand the hierarchy colleges use when reviewing applications, not a scoring system, right? So, this matters because when parents believe there is a secret formula, kids start living like they are constantly scored every minute. And that's not healthy or accurate, right? So, when researchers look at national admissions data or common data sets or national surveys, testing organizations, everything, right? A very consistent pattern shows up. Those surveys shows the same pattern. High school record and course rigor is at the top. That takes up the most space. Then comes essays, activities, and recommendations are the key qualitative factors, not quantitative, qualitative factors. They are the key differentiators, right? So the teaching model I often use from, I should say, moderately to highly selective colleges, right? And I'm talking only about them today. So let's start about the look at the breakdown, right? Academics, that means grades, rigor, tests, that is AP tests, SATs, and everything, right? All those together, 45 to 50%. Okay. Extracurriculars, any jobs that you do, any work that you do, and the impact that you bring to the society or community, about 15 to 20%. Essays, recommendations, about 10 to 15%. Interviews and demonstrated interest, you'll be surprised, 0 to 10%, very, very college specific. So I won't worry about it until you are called for an interview or something, right? Basically, put it at the last bucket, last priority kind of thing. And if you do everything well, that automatically falls in place. And college context and institutional priorities, about 5 to 10%. I'm going to explain what it is. Okay. So, in other words, academics, roughly half. Okay. Like if you are thinking of a pie chart, right? 50%. Academics, roughly half. Extracurriculars, about a fifth. Essays and recommendations together, about another fifth. Interviews and interest, very small and variable based on college, specific college, right? And context and priorities, always present, but largely invisible to families. Now, when I say invisible to families, I'll explain why it is that. Context and institutional priorities are always in the background, making the final decision on whether a particular student will be going into a college or not, right? Context means the picture your child's school and community that travels with the transcript paints. That means you can always ask your school for the college profile, the school profile, they will send it to you. But that is only a part of it. Context means your school's profile, right? That explains courses that are actually offered, how many APs, how many honors classes are available, whether the school ranks kids or not, or what are the grading scale is, and even the average test scores, right? All that is context, school context. You can call it school profile also. They also know something about the area the student lives in, their economic status, and any big disruptions that may have affected their learning, like if you have any tornadoes or earthquakes or COVID happened, right? All these things, they all impact. So they see that also. If there are any snow places where snowstorms happened and school was closed for most of the time or some of the time, impactful time, then it impacted their learning, they take all that into consideration. So a student who takes the hardest classes at a small public school with only 2 APs is not judged against a student from a private school with 25 APs in the same way. Now, we need not even go to that extent. Like, I'm not even, because we all live in Bay Area, I'm talking about students going to public school versus students going to private school. Their number of APs is, and the course curriculum and the rigor is very different. You are not compared together. You are compared with your school context and they are compared to their school context, right? Now, let's talk about institutional priorities. Now, this is the key where nobody has any clue on what is happening here. Institutional priorities means there are colleges' own internal goals for the class they are building that particular year. Again, your history, past does not matter. So you cannot even compare your kids saying that, hey, your cousin went to Stanford, she did this, this, this. Doesn't matter. And let's say you did exactly that. If you get it, well and good, but you might not get it also because of institutional priorities. Every year, a college is asking, do we need more students in particular majors? Do we need more students, in-state students versus out-of-state students? More students who play in a particular orchestra or fill certain sports teams? Are we trying to increase first generation enrollment or international enrollment or meet certain financial aid or certain revenue targets? Right? These goals can shift from year to year and they're almost never spelled out in a way families can plan around. It is not written anywhere in the school website, college website, nowhere. Now, that is the reason when you see equally two equally strong students can get different decisions from the same college. One might fill a major that college is trying to grow or play an instrument the orchestra is short on, right? One of my friend's daughter, she was playing a particular instrument. She went to USC, University of Southern California. Maybe if the another person who has a similar profile applied for it might not have gotten into it because they did not choose their music minor. They could have chosen something else, right? And the region where you're coming from can also matter. What if the school wants more representation from a particular place, right? Now, another might be wonderful, but the college already has many students with a very similar profile. So colleges look for diversity, right? When they are representing their school board, student body, they want to have a particular diversity, demographics and some in music and some in this and that and everything, right? So here is the key for parents. You cannot control either of this: the school context, the community context, the natural disasters that can happen, the natural disruptions that can happen, or the institutional priorities, right? You cannot change what your school is offering. None of these you can do. But what is it that you can do? What is in your control? You can help your team do the best in the environment they have. Take what you have, do the best you can. That's all you can do, right? And now, when you're building a college list, build a balanced college list, right? You have decent, safe colleges, safety colleges, target colleges, and um, dream colleges, right? One third of each, or more of target and less of safety and less of dream kind of thing, so that you're not putting all your eggs in one basket, right? Now, think of this percentages or these things as a map, not a calculator, right? And I want to say this clearly that different colleges slide these ranges up or down a little bit, but the order is remarkably consistent nationwide. Okay, so I hope that gives you some kind of insight into like how colleges, what is important, right? Beyond grades, what else is important, right? Now, the most important insight here is extracurriculars. Extracurriculars usually do not qualify a student They are the differentiator. But only after your academics are strong enough. Academics get a student into a serious review profile pile. So if college admissions officers are, they have around 4 to 10 minutes on an average to look at the application. I think I'll do one more session on how the college admission officers work, but to give you a little bit of insight, they actually have, based on how, if the colleges high accept high volume of applications, right, big colleges and high volume of applications, then the lesser time they have based on number of admission officers, right? And they spend around 4 minutes or something to look at an application, and if they feel remotely good, then they will put it in a serious file. After that, they might spend around 10 minutes to look at the serious file and say, now in this file, they have to eliminate some more, right? Now it will go into another file. So altogether, by the time a kid comes into, gets selected into a college, his or her application might have been seen for around 30 to 60 minutes. But if it is smaller colleges, maybe a little bit more, right? And that's the reason when you talk to parents and everything, parents of different kids who went to colleges, you will see that it is like there is no set criteria on why one kid goes to one college and the other kid does not get into the same one, right? So you can't change your school and, like, all these things you cannot change, like how much time uh, application is being seen or in which order and everything. So one thing you need to make sure is, make sure the academics are strong enough first, okay? And then let's see what we can do. Now I'll give you an example. A student who works 20 hours a week at Safeway and helps run some youth programs at their YMCA or temple or library or anything, they might have a stronger impact than a student who lists 10 clubs but rarely shows up. I have heard parents take their kids to some Mexico or something, send for some program where they will send it to some village where they built something, or they went to India and they did something for underprivileged people or something like that. If that does not fit in your student's profile seamlessly, it will look like engineered, right? And admissions officers can always tell when something is an engineered. It's better to do something that you're interested in, right? Because once you do an extracurricular activity that you're interested in and you're passionate about, it naturally takes depth. It makes some sense to them. It makes a meaningful impact. And it comes out in the essay in a beautiful form, which ties up everything in, right? So, busy is not necessary. Elite or something like, earth shattering is not needed. Impactful, depth is more important, right? So, if you're looking for, I'm trying to understand what are colleges looking for when they see activities, they are evaluating in a way that they are looking for patterns like depth over time, growth, and progression, right? What did they learn out of this? Why did they do this? How does it help them? Initiative or leadership, contribution to a community, responsibility, including work or family obligations. I know when you saw essay writings of kids during COVID time, there are kids who could not do any extracurricular activities because they had one after another family member falling sick during COVID, and they took care of them. So all they did was taking care of sick family members. They got into great colleges. Why? Because they showed responsibility. They showed care. It's about how you are spending your time other than academics, right? So a job counts, helping at home counts, caring for sibling counts. That does not mean just write it, right? You actually do, because anything that you actually invest your time in, the authenticity shows up. It shows up, your passion, everything shows up in an essay. It shows up, it first of all makes you a rounded personality, and it shows up in everything you do, right? So you don't have to look for really prestigious activities. You just find something that clicks. I know one girl, she went to where did she go? Stanford or MIT, I don't know. After school, she used to go to library, which was closer to the school, and there she helped the librarian. She used to, like, because her mom used to come and pick her up after work, so she spent her time in the library doing her homework, and she started helping the librarian. She helped librarian do summer programs, and summer she used to go. She just created a good relationship. This librarian wrote her a recommendation letter, and she got, that was the main extra, because she was not going anywhere else, because there was nobody to drop her to different programs and classes and everything. She was sitting and working in the library all the time. That was her extracurricular activity. Just to tell you, like, what matters, right? It is really sustained and meaningful to the student, because that shapes up their essay later on too. So summer matters because she might have sat, this librarian, the kid in the library example, she might have sat during the weekdays, but during summer what she did was she went and helped the librarian do summer programs for kids, summer reading programs. She designed them, she helped them, she executed them, and she showed example of, she helped younger kids learn or read and everything like that, right? So think of summer not about stacking more courses just to look advanced. Summer is very powerful when you do some kind of deeper engagement in an activity you are learning, exploration, contribution, or recovery and balance. If you're doing martial arts, see if you can do TA in martial arts, because it works for extracurricular, plus it works for your volunteer activities also. And if you have so many hours, you get presidential award for silver, bronze, and gold, right? So there are all these things which you will get if you do in the same area of your already that you're working on. Don't try to slap it in your resume with something that, oh, this it seems everybody plays piano, so let me do something else. Everybody does this, so let me do something different. If you're passionate with piano, just do piano, right? But go and teach some other kid to learn piano, right? Become a TA to your teacher or something like that. So I would say the best summer choice need not be another academic class. It could be something meaningful to do, right? Now, common parents' anxiety is, we cannot control institutional priorities. We cannot control how competitive a year is, and we cannot control who else applies. So, what is it that we can control? How our child uses their time, whether they are chasing checklists or building growth. Building growth is always important. And whether your home environment supports growth instead of pressure. Parents need to be very, very mindful that instead of putting pressure, instead of comparison, instead of saying, do this, are you invested in your kids' growth? Growth in their personality, growth in their awareness, because you are raising a kid and sending them to the world, right? There is a certain responsibility with the parents as well. So calm, steady engagement beats frantic resume building at any time. And admissions officers can clearly tell whether this resume is engineered, paid money and built it, and somebody else wrote your essay. They can definitely say that versus authentic interest. So let's strive to be more authentic, right? Now, one more thing I want to tell you is extracurriculars are not just a doorway to college, gateway to college. What extracurriculars do is, once your kid goes to college, they don't have the family, they are living with strangers, they are trying to make friendships, they will join the clubs where their extracurricular things are offered. They make meaningful friendships with their friends, and that is what defines their time. If they don't keep themselves busy with those things, they will end up doing partying, drugs, and all those things. So look, like, investing in a proper extracurricular activity, going depth, so that they can go to college and join those clubs and extend it more. That becomes their life skill. It will shape their life, you know. So think of extracurriculars that way too. It is not just to get into a college, right? So I want to leave this by these things. There is no perfect national pie chart for the percentages of how much time you have to spend at what. But there is a very consistent national pattern. Academics, they open the door for you. Extracurriculars, essays, recommendations, they shape the story, right? And now, as you are listening to this, you might jot down one activity your teen genuinely enjoys and one pressure you are willing to release this year. I think that action itself moves the needle in the right direction, right? Strong, healthy kids with reasonable balance and more compelling applications than exhausted kids chasing every possible opportunity. So please, I want you to be mindful and have student, like, do more stuff that they like than just because you have to do it. So that's all I have for today. In the next sessions, I'm planning to talk about incoming high school parent guide. Most probably, I'll allot around 10 episodes for this. There is EHS High School, Emerald High School has created, the parents have created a document where they have incoming high school parent guide on what parents need to know so that their kids can have, like, um, know everything, that parents know everything that they need, kids know everything that they need, they can thrive academically and stay connected and confident. So I will do that from next week. Thank you for joining, and let me know if you have any questions. Okay, I will open it up for questions. If you have any, you can put it in the chat. I can put it in the comment, the distribution, if for your, or I can put it in the chat as well if you're interested. It's not letting me send. Okay. Nope. It's not letting me send for some reason. Okay, I'll put it in the comments. Okay. Yeah, there you go. Okay. There you go. I put all of them. So thank you, everyone. We'll meet next week, next Wednesday. Okay. Thank you.